Wolf Reintroduction in Northwestern Colorado. Narrated by Ken Morrow. Ethical Practice and Policy, Dr. Dunbar. The problem. When it pertains to sustainability and both the habitat and economic wellness of a community, in this case, Northwestern Colorado, there's always one key issue. In this particular situation, it is the reintroduction of the wolf. This concept of reintroducing the gray wolf into Colorado was developed by the Colorado Department of Wildlife, and it was sent to the voters known as Proposition 114, Reintroduction of the Gray Wolf. 114 basically stated that we had to reintroduce gray wolves in Colorado, and it was passed by the voters. The main requirements are that it requires the Department of Wildlife, to design, implement, manage the plan for reintroduction of the gray wolf. This is key due to the fact that until the late 1940s, the gray wolf was in Colorado, as was the grizzly bear. This proposition that passed has both been joyous and bothersome, depending on the individual and organizational opinions. If you're a rancher, you're worried. If you're a hunter, you're creating all kinds of, not science-based opinions of why there should not be the wolf in northwestern Colorado. Fears and the unknown. Due to the passing of Proposition 114, there has been tons of fear, ignorant, uneducated statements made concerning the reintroduction of the wolf. One of the ideas is that it's going to have major economic fallout. This concept has been stated and restated several times by the hunters and ranchers who are in that area where the reintroduction is going to occur. But in all reality, if you really look at the situation, it was the hunters and ranchers who have encroached into the native habitat of the gray wolf, not the other way around. More specifically, the ranchers in that area truly believe that naturally occurring ecosystems will be destroyed by the reintroduction of an apex predator. They are always pointing fingers, they're always saying snide comments, and not scientifically based references to what occurred in Yellowstone National Park and the current events occurring in Montana. These statements are without scientific merit and driven both by ignorance and fear, and I can state that being an environmental scientist that has researched this topic copious amounts of times. The truth, wolf reintroduction will stabilize an ecosystem, return it to how it was. This has been proven time and time again, and it has been verified constantly by ecological studies being conducted specifically in Yellowstone National Park. Biologists, ecologists, and the Department of Wildlife have confirmed that in Yellowstone National Park, deer, elk, moose, beaver populations have returned to healthy levels. The system has regained its natural balance by the reintroduction of the wolf in that specific area. I'm going to call this the hook. The main hook when it comes to wolf reintroduction and policies and ideologies is the hook is ignorance and fear. People have forgotten in this specific case that Colorado was once the native habitat of the gray wolf. Refreshing of memory. Unfortunately, due to the lack of education and knowledge in this fact, we have to refresh the opponent's memories of this. We can see by this little graph that in the 1850s, wolves reigned supreme in Colorado. With thousands of wolves. In the 1920s, they became scarce, and by the 40s, they were eradicated, which was a similar tactic that the Colorado Department of Wildlife used in, eradicating the grizzly bears. This was due to the ignorance and beliefs that the economic system would be ruined in that specific area. Due to the reintroduction ideology, there are groups of people that believe that it will be very detrimental, and that is the hunting and tourism industries. Point is, our home, it was their home. And unfortunately, we have seen humans destroy almost everything they do not understand. Everything we touch, we want to destroy. We are ignorant and blind when it comes to the bigger scope. Wolves roamed free, like I have stated, hundreds of years before humans encroached and became greedy and developed a superiority complex. What can we do? The main thing is we must educate ourselves first of all. We have to see the bigger scope. We have to understand the importance of the reintroduction. We must understand that we are obligated to live in a state of harmony with the wolf or any other predator. This was their home first. This was their home first. We encroached on them, and they have the right to live. Number two, we must overcome the stigma that a wolf is a bloodlusting animal, that it will kill you and your family for the fun of it. They're not going to go out there and just kill you for a game. If we cannot learn to accept and appreciate what the wolf will bring to the ecosystem, then, hunters will face a decline in animals to hunt due to disease and sicknesses. The positive is we need the wolf, to bring the system back into balance. The negative is without the wolf, as you can see in this map by the USGS, mule, deer, elk, every species of animal that the hunters go hunting for will, succumb to illness. I mean, the biggest topic in Colorado, Montana, Western Wyoming is chronic wasting disease. That is due to the fact that there's not enough predators. Currently in Colorado, it's the mountain lion. Due to the number of diseased animals and the lack of predators, it has exploded exponentially. Due to the reintroduction, it will help the culling practices and the deer and elk populations will be healthier, thus making the hunters happy. Placement, they're always, we don't want it in our neighborhood, we don't want it in our town. They did two specific things, under Proposition 114, talking about 50 wolves, in the area of Vail, Glenwood Springs, and Aspen, Montrose, and Gunnison. Aspen and Vail, they're well-known ski areas, Glenwood Springs, Hot Springs, but it is suitable habitat for those animals. Overall thought, realistically, there's not a foolproof plan. We're reintroducing something that has been removed, decades ago. There's a lot of ideologies and concepts of what should occur and what not. Like I said, it's being returned to an area that it's been void of for decades. Jurassic Park, life will find a way, and life can be violent, comically, which it can be. For this to work, we need to understand the species and not use ignorance to combat conceptuality. We have to research and educate ourselves so we do not live in fear. And for it to be successful, we must understand that the wolf is a living creature and we encroach their home. We must understand all these concepts. References. General Region Colorado plans to reintroduce wolves. Chronic wasting disease. Proposed rules allows for widespread killing of reintroduced Colorado wolves. Killed wolves be killed by ranchers. Proposition and wolf management. Hope you enjoyed this quick explanation of wolf reintroduction and the things that have to happen to make sure that it is successful. Have a good night.